A casino employee who spent years watching players from behind the scenes just revealed something that could completely flip your understanding of slot machines. According to internal reports that most gamblers will never see, there are certain games on the casino floor that aren't just bad, they're engineered to drain your bankroll faster than anything else around them. Former technicians, floor managers, and pit bosses have come forward with a list of machines they personally avoid, and their reasons are more disturbing than you think. By the end of this video, you'll know which slots quietly chew through thousands of dollars, why they do it, and how casinos keep you hooked without you even realizing you're losing. But to understand just how manipulative some of these games can be, we need to start with one that perfectly disguises its worst trick. Machine number 1, Sex in the City. On the surface, this machine looks harmless, even fun. Bright colors, iconic characters, upbeat music, and a theme built around one of the most recognizable TV shows of the last 20 years. But behind the glamorous exterior lies one of the most psychologically manipulative mechanics ever programmed into a casino game. Losses disguised as wins. Here's how the scheme works. Let's say you bet $2.50. The real spin, you win $1.25. The machine goes wild. Lights flash, animations explode. You hear triumphant jingles, and the whole screen behaves as if you just landed something incredible. But mathematically, you lost $1.25, and the game celebrates the loss as if it were a victory. Former slot technicians say this happens constantly, sometimes dozens of times per hour. The machine showers players with dopamine spikes, making them believe they're performing well even while their bankroll is collapsing. This distorts your sense of time, money, and progress. Many players walk away thinking they stayed even or lost just a little, only to realize later they dropped hundreds. A former casino employee documented a night where a group of women celebrating a bachelorette party played this machine for nearly 2 hours. They laughed, they cheered, the machine congratulated them nonstop. They walked away feeling like they almost broke even. But according to the casino's transaction logs, they collectively lost over $2,000. Technicians call this machine the illusionist because it hides the truth in plain sight. It's not just the RTP, usually around 88 to 90%. That's dangerous. It's the deliberate, calculated deception baked into every spin. And believe it or not, the next machine doesn't just trick your perception. It destroys players financially over months and years. Machine number 2, 88 fortunes. If there is one machine that casino employees warn about more emotionally than statistically, it's 88 fortunes. You'll find it in almost every major casino. Bright gold symbols, loud celebratory sounds, Chinese-themed visuals, and the promise of several progressive jackpots, mini, minor, major, and the ultra-seductive grand. But insiders say that while this machine looks festive, it can quietly ruin players who chase the grand jackpot without understanding the brutal mathematics behind it. The grand jackpot is incredibly rare. Technicians estimate the odds are so low that it's statistically possible to play this machine for years without ever triggering it. But the game cleverly makes players believe they're building towards something or getting close based on how often the smaller progressives hit. This brings us to one of the most heartbreaking insider stories, Tony. According to multiple employees who saw him regularly, Tony played 88 fortunes almost every day after work. He always bet the maximum, $4.50 a spin, because he believed max bet unlocked the best chance at the grand. 600 spins per session, $2,700 wagered per visit, 4 to 5 visits a week. Over the course of 2 years, technicians estimate Tony pushed nearly $300,000 through that single cabinet. He hit the mini jackpot countless times, the minor occasionally, the major twice. But the grand, the prize he was chasing, never came. Tony believed the machine owed him. He convinced himself he was close. He told employees he would hit it any day now. Eventually, the truth caught up with him. He maxed out multiple credit cards, took out loans, and even refinanced the family home without telling his wife. When she discovered the truth, the financial damage was catastrophic. They had to sell the house just to pay off the debt. The worst part, about 3 months after Tony's wife forced him to stop gambling, someone else hit the grand jackpot on the exact machine Tony fed for years. This machine doesn't just hurt your wallet, it preys on persistence, hope, and human psychology. That's why casino insiders often speak about 88 fortunes with genuine sadness. Machine number 3, Buffalo Gold. Buffalo Gold is one of the most misleading machines on any casino floor. The moment you walk in, you'll spot it. Bright, loud, flashy, packed with players who look convinced they're one spin away from something huge. And that's exactly how the machine traps you. It tricks you with momentum. Every other spin feels like you're getting close. Two bonus symbols drop in, but the third one never lands. A gold head flashes. A mini win lights up the screen, and your brain starts telling you, okay, maybe the next spin. But insiders say the math behind Buffalo Gold tells a completely different story. The RTP sits around 88 to 90%. That means the machine is taking far more than it returns. Yet it feels generous because it throws tiny wins at you all the time. 40 cents back, 60 cents back, a dollar here and there. Little payouts that don't even match your bet, but the machine celebrates them like you've just hit something meaningful. And then there's the bonus. Buffalo Gold has one of the most hyped bonus rounds in any slot. People talk about the dream run, the re-trigger streak, 15 gold heads, and those massive all-Buffalo screens. But according to technician logs, the bonus triggers roughly once every 150 spins, and most of them pay next to nothing. There's a story from a former tech about a guy who played for 8 hours straight, 12 bonuses. Not a single one paid more than 50 times his bet. He walked away frustrated, thinking he had terrible luck. But he didn't. That's exactly how the machine is designed. Buffalo Gold doesn't blow through your money instantly. It drains you slowly, steadily, softly. Just enough action to keep you believing the big moment is coming, but almost never delivering it. And the worst part? Whenever somebody does hit a huge win, one of those rare one-in-thousands wins, the machine goes into full celebration mode. Lights, music, buffalo roars. Everyone around turns their head. People think, wow, that could be me. But they don't see the hours of losing spins that came before it. That's why insiders say Buffalo Gold is one of the most dangerous machines in the casino. Not because it crushes you fast, but because it convinces you to stay. Machine number 4, Ultimate Firelink Tiki Fire. Tiki Fire is one of those machines that looks fun, colorful, and harmless. But according to casino insiders, it's actually one of the most quietly dangerous slots on the entire floor. Not because it empties your money instantly, but because it convinces you to chase something you almost never catch. When people sit down at Tiki Fire, they usually do it for one reason, the Firelink feature. You've seen it. You need 6 fireballs to trigger the bonus. The screen fills with flames. The music ramps up, and the game gives you 3 respins to land more fireballs, each one resetting the counter. Sounds exciting, right? But here's the truth insiders revealed. Most of the time, the machine gives you exactly 6 fireballs to trigger the bonus. Just 6. No extras. No follow-up hits. You get your 3 respins, you watch the reels tease you, and nothing else lands. Bonus over. You win maybe 5 to 15 times your bet. Meanwhile, you spent 60 to 80 spins just to get there. One technician said, Tiki Fire is the king of disappointment. It gives you the fireworks, but never the explosion. And players don't notice how much they're losing because the machine keeps giving them just enough emotion to stay hooked. The screen keeps showing fireballs landing just above or just below the visible area. It's not a real near miss. The result is predetermined. But visually, it feels like, oh man, that was close. It's not close. It was never going to land. But the game wants you to believe it was. Insiders say these fake visual teases play a huge role in why people stay at Tiki Fire far longer than they should. The machine constantly tells your brain, you're almost there. Don't leave now. There's a story from a former technician about an older woman who played Tiki Fire every day. Every morning she sat down at the same machine. Every evening she was still there. One day the tech overheard her say she was playing with her late husband's life insurance money because she was due for a big win. He wanted to tell her the truth. He wanted to warn her that the machine doesn't care how much she's already lost. Every spin is independent. Every spin starts from 0. But casino staff aren't allowed to give gambling advice. They could lose their job for telling someone to walk away. So she kept playing, kept feeding the machine, kept chasing the fireballs that were never coming. That's why former employees say Tiki Fire isn't just a bad machine, it's one of the most predatory. The RTP hovers around 85%, one of the lowest on the floor, and the game uses psychological tricks that make losses feel like near wins. It doesn't feel like you're losing. It feels like you're almost winning, and that's a far more dangerous place to be. Machine number 5, Wheel of Fortune, Triple Extreme Spin. Wheel of Fortune is one of the most recognizable slot brands on Earth. You see that giant, colorful wheel, you hear the signature sound, and your brain says, maybe I'll get lucky. But Triple Extreme Spin isn't just a more exciting version of the classic game. According to casino insiders, it's one of the most punishing machines ever put on the floor. The moment you sit down, it feels like you're stepping into something special. 3 wheels, bigger features, more animations, more hype. It looks like a machine built for big wins. But behind that flashy exterior is a base RTP of around 85 to 87%, significantly worse than the already low-paying original Wheel of Fortune versions. And the gameplay? That's where things get really dangerous. Triple Extreme Spin is built around its multi-wheel bonus. Bronze, silver, gold, 3 levels, 3 chances, 3 ways to get sucked in. Sounds amazing, right? But according to former slot techs, more than 70% of the time, players land the lowest version, the bronze wheel, and it pays almost nothing. 10 times your bet, maybe 20, sometimes even less. Enough to make the lights flash, but not enough to fix the damage. What makes this machine truly brutal is the gamble for a higher wheel option. This is where players get trapped. You trigger bronze, you see silver and gold right above it, and the machine gives you a button, a shiny, tempting button that says, gamble for a better prize. And your brain goes, why settle for bronze when I could hit gold? So you gamble, you press the button, and most of the time, you lose. Former technicians say the gamble-up odds are terrible, around 1 in 10 at best. But players still press it because the machine is designed to make bronze feel disappointing. The lights dim, the music falls flat. The game practically says, really? You're going to take that little win? It pushes you toward the gamble without ever saying it outright. One documented case from a casino manager tells the whole story. A woman triggered the silver wheel, already rare, and instead of taking the guaranteed win, she gambled for gold. The screen flashed, the pointer spun, and then nothing. She lost the wheel entirely. No bonus, no payout. Hundreds of spins wasted for absolutely zero return. She just sat there in silence. Not angry, not yelling, just empty. Because she knew she'd thrown away the one decent hit she got all day. Insiders say that's the emotional toll this machine takes. It grinds you down slowly, teasing you with levels you'll almost never reach and convincing you to sacrifice the small wins you do get. It's not just a bad machine. It's a psychological trap wrapped in neon lights. Triple Extreme Spin makes you believe you're always one gamble away from greatness. But the math behind it says you're one gamble away from losing everything you just won. And that's exactly why casino employees avoid it like the plague. Machine number 6, Lightning Link Happy Lantern. Lightning Link is everywhere. You can walk into almost any casino in the world and see entire rows of these machines glowing like a small city. Players love them. Casinos love them even more. And according to insiders, the Happy Lantern version is one of the most dangerous in the entire series. At first glance, Happy Lantern looks almost friendly. Bright red colors, lanterns floating across the reels, upbeat music that makes every spin feel like something exciting is about to happen. But the inside of this machine tells a very different story. Former slot technicians say Happy Lantern is built around one powerful psychological trick: near misses. This machine loves to tease you. 5 lantern symbols drop in, but you need 6. The screen shakes, flashes, and plays that almost sound. Your brain fires off dopamine like you were on the edge of greatness, but statistically, you were never even close. The base RTP on Happy Lantern is around 87%. Terrible on its own, but the near-miss manipulation makes that loss rate feel invisible. You think the machine is warming up or building towards something, but technicians say that's just the visual programming doing its job. And then there's the hold and spin feature, the mechanic that Lightning Link is famous for. Here's the harsh truth insiders revealed. Yes, the feature triggers fairly often. Yes, it looks exciting. Yes, players love seeing the lanterns lock into place, but the actual payouts almost always disappointing. Most hold and spin rounds pay somewhere between 8 and 15 times your bet. 8 to 15. And because you're spinning 80, 90, sometimes 100 times just to trigger it, you're paying a heavy price just to get a tiny return wrapped in fireworks. One technician shared logs from a regular Happy Lantern player who kept track of her bonuses over 6 months. She triggered hold and spin more than 300 times. Out of those 300 bonuses, only 8 of them, 8, paid anything significant. The rest? Chump change. Just enough to keep her excited, not enough to help her climb out of the hole. This is the core design of the Happy Lantern machine. Keep you excited, keep you stimulated, keep you believing the next lantern, the next spin, the next lock could be the one. But mathematically, the one almost never arrives. And here's the psychological twist that makes Happy Lantern especially dangerous. The more almost moments you see, the more you want to keep playing. You think you're close. You think the machine is hot. You think the feature is coming any second now. But insiders say the machine doesn't know you. It doesn't care how long you've played. It doesn't care how many times you've been teased. Every spin resets the math to 0. Happy Lantern doesn't just drain your bankroll. It does it with a smile, fireworks, and the constant illusion of hope. That's why casino employees warn players away from this machine. It manipulates your expectations better than almost any game on the floor. Machine number 7, Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones slot machine is one of the most cinematic games you'll ever see on a casino floor. Huge screens, dramatic music, dragons flying across the reels. It feels like stepping right into the show. And that's exactly how it gets you. According to casino insiders, this machine uses its brand to pull players into one of the worst return rates of any licensed slot out there. The first trap is simple: licensing. Because Aristocrat has to pay for the Game of Thrones name, for the characters, for the theme music, they make up the difference by lowering the RTP. Former employees say most Game of Thrones cabinets run between 86 and 89%. That's already rough, but the way the game handles its features is what really burns players. You get 4 different modes: Baratheon, Lannister, Stark, and Targaryen. They all look cool, they all have different bonuses, and most new players automatically pick Targaryen because, well, dragons. But insiders say that's the most volatile mode in the entire machine. Long stretches with no features, long droughts, big promises, but not many big outcomes. The bonus rounds themselves look epic. Clips from the show, fire animations, dramatic sound effects, but most of the time, they barely pay more than a handful of spins. And then there's the gamble feature, the one that lets you risk your bonus winnings for a chance at a bigger version of the feature. Former pit bosses call this the danger button. The odds are terrible, yet players press it constantly because the machine presents it like it's the heroic choice, like it's part of the story. There's a story from one casino manager about a player who hit a $200 bonus. Decent hit, but he pressed the gamble feature trying to double it, lost everything instantly, and then spent 3 hours chasing it back. By the time he left, he was down more than $1,500. This is why insiders warn about Game of Thrones. It's not just the low RTP, it's the presentation, the drama, the music, the emotional weight that makes players forget they're losing money. The machine isn't designed to make you feel like you're gambling. It's designed to make you feel like you're in an episode. And that's exactly how it empties your wallet. Machine number 8, Dragon Link Panda Magic. Panda Magic is one of the most eye-catching machines in the entire Dragon Link series. Bright colors, smooth animations, a charming theme. Everything about it feels friendly and inviting. But according to casino insiders, Panda Magic is one of those games that quietly drains your bankroll while making you think you're doing fine. The machine is built around the same hold and spin system as Lightning Link, but Panda Magic adds a twist. It uses more frequent visual effects, glowing symbols, expanding reels, flashing wilds, to constantly give you the impression that something big is about to happen. You'll see lanterns flicker, wild symbols fly across the screen, bonus icons land 2 at a time, and then nothing. Over and over again. Former technicians say this machine has one of the highest false anticipation rates in the entire Dragon Link lineup, meaning it loves to show animation, noise, sparks, basically everything except actual wins. And here's what makes Panda Magic really dangerous. The base game hardly pays anything. Most spins return nothing at all. The ones that do pay are tiny, the kind of hits that flash like a victory even though they barely cover a fraction of your bet. So players sit there waiting for the bonus, hoping for the feature, believing the machine is heating up because it keeps flashing and glowing. But insiders say the truth is simple. Panda Magic's RTP is one of the lowest in the Dragon Link family, hovering in the high 80% range. That's a deep hole to climb out of, even if you land a decent bonus. There's a story from a former slot tech about a man who played Panda Magic almost like a routine. Every Friday after work, he'd sit at the same machine, order the same drink, and play for hours waiting for the bonus. Most weeks he'd get one, sometimes two, and they almost always paid the same. Small hits, short rounds, nothing memorable. But every time the bonus began, he told himself, "Okay, this is the one." It never was. By the end of each week, he walked away, convinced he just had bad luck. Insiders say he didn't. The machine was working exactly as designed. Panda Magic isn't aggressive. It doesn't smash your wallet all at once. It slips under your radar. A little loss here, a tiny win there, a few glowing symbols, a couple of near features, and before you realize it, hours are gone. And so is your bankroll. That's why former employees warn players about this machine. Not because it's loud or dangerous looking, but because it's subtle. It uses charm, color, and constant teases to make you forget how much you're losing until the session is already over. Machine number 9, Wheel of Fortune, older quarter version. The original quarter denomination Wheel of Fortune machines are some of the most misleading games still sitting on casino floors. Not because they're flashy, not because they're exciting. Actually, the opposite. They look old, boxy, outdated, almost forgotten, and that's exactly why they're dangerous. Most players walk past these older cabinets thinking, those are ancient. The good stuff is in the new machines. But insiders say the old Wheel of Fortune quarter machines have something most modern slots don't: programming from another era, and not in a good way. These older machines were built in a time when casinos didn't rely on fancy animations or complex features to keep players spinning. They used simple math, and that math heavily favored the house. Former IGT employees say these pre-2015 quarter versions often run at around 86 to 88% RTP. That's extremely low, but because the machines look old school and nostalgic, players assume they must be more fair. The reality is the opposite. To make things worse, these cabinets almost always sit in the least visible parts of the casino. Behind columns, near restrooms, or tucked into walls where people only stop if every other seat is taken. Casinos don't promote them, but they also don't remove them because they still make steady profit from people who assume a classic machine must have classic payouts. One longtime slot tech told a story about a regular, a quiet older man who played only these quarter Wheel of Fortune machines every Saturday morning. He believed the older models were more honest and more generous. Over 2 years, technicians estimated he cycled nearly $25,000 through those machines. His biggest single hit? Around $300. Everything else was slow, consistent losses disguised as harmless weekend entertainment. That's how these machines drain you. Quietly. They don't flash and scream. They don't throw crazy bonuses in your face. They just nibble away at your balance spin after spin without giving you enough action to even feel like you're playing. And here's another insider detail. Newer Wheel of Fortune versions have at least some volatility spikes, meaning you can hit something meaningful, even if the RTP is low. But the older quarter machines, they're flat, predictable, consistent, and consistently bad. Nothing big comes. Nothing exciting happens. Just slow, steady losses hidden behind nostalgia. That's why casino employees say these machines are quiet killers. You don't realize how much you've lost until you stand up, look at your wallet, and wonder where the last 2 hours went. At the end of the day, every slot machine on the casino floor is designed to do one thing: take your money. Some do it slowly, some do it brutally, and some hide it behind lights, music, and a constant stream of almost moments that make you believe you're always one spin away from a miracle. But now you know exactly which games drain your bankroll the fastest, which ones manipulate your emotions the hardest, and which ones casinos absolutely don't want you to stay away from. If you learned something today, if even one machine on this list made you think twice, then this video has already saved you money. And if you ever end up inside a casino again, remember this: the flashing screens don't decide how much you lose. Your discipline does. Walk in with a plan. Walk out when you need to. And never let a machine convince you it's due for anything. If you want more insider breakdowns, more real stories from behind the scenes, and more strategies that casinos hope you never hear, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if this helped you, and share it with someone who loves casinos a little too much for their own good. Thanks for watching, stay smart out there, and as always, play for fun, not for hope. See you in the next one.